here we are again, video number 2. Starting off with the warm-up. Just think about your body and your posture to start with. Let's just go through the posture. Back of the head, shoulder blades, buttocks and heels up against an imaginary wall. Opening the chest, sliding the fingertips down, seam of trouser leg. Tailbone pointing down, pressing the tummy button to the backbone, putting up into the rib cage. Then you'll feel your pelvic floor lift up. Open up those hips. Buttocks engaging, knees rolling out, arch of the foot lifting. Spreading out the toes, weight even between the little toe, the big toe and the heels. And of course doing the Pilates, breathing full and wide into the rib cage. Keeping that tummy pulled up and in all the time. And then from there, just take the shoulders up into the ears and stretch down. Big squeeze up into the ears and stretch down. Sliding the shoulder blades down your back. Warming up the shoulders, keeping everything else stable while you do that, and then adding on to that, squeezing up, pushing down, floating the arms up to shoulder height, and stretching down. Keeping the back of the head, the shoulder blades, the buttocks and the heels up against that imaginary wall. Nice and smooth. Just do a big squeeze up, stretch down, and then lifting the arms up. Then adding on to that, squeezing up, stretching down, and doing a little squat, taking the hips back and down, hold that there briefly and push up nice and tall. Doing a squeeze up, stretch down, take the hips back and down. Don't forget the peach underneath the chin, the orange between the knees, lengthening up, making sure when you do the squat that the knees track straight forward over the toes, taking the hips right back and down, and so the weight goes all the way into the heels. Deep, deep, deep squat. Now hold that there, hold, and then just lift the heels off the floor. Bring the weight slightly forward, heels up, put the heels down and push up nice and tall. So side view, you're going to do the squeeze up, push down, do that little squat, keep the chest lifted, bottom low, and then lift the heels up and balance on the balls of the feet. Putting the heels down and lengthening back up. So it's just a squeeze up, stretch down, do that little sit, keep the chest up, and then lift the heels up and balance. Put the heels down and push up nice and tall, changing. This time, bring the heels up, stretch down, lift the heels up, bring the arms forward, and do that little squat. And put the heels down, and then lengthen up again. Warming up the shoulders, reaching down, lifting the heels up, taking the hips back and down, knees tracking straight forward, put the heels down and push up nice and tall. And again, you're warming up the shoulders, reaching down, lifting up the heels, lift the arms, take the hips back and down, hold, put the heels down, and lengthen up, warming up the hips and the knees, thighs, buttocks working. And then joining the whole lot together really. So just do the squeeze up, push down, lift the heels up, hold that there, do the little sit, hold, and then see if you can push up nice and tall, put the heels down. Squeezing up, stretching down. Lift the heels as the arms go up, keeping the shoulders down. Knees going straight forward, keep those heels up if you can. If not, just put the heels to the floor. And then lengthen up, balancing on the balls of the feet. Feel those calf muscles work. And then lower the heels. And then see if you can do it repeatedly without putting the heels down. So you do a big squeeze up, push down, lift up, keeping those shoulders right down. And then sit, 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 knees straight forward, keep the heels up, and push up and balance. Keep the heels up and repeat if you can. If you need to, of course, you just put your heels down. Nice, deep, deep, deep squat. One more time only. Warming up the hips, the knees, get those thighs and buttocks working. And of course, your calf muscles. And then just replace the heels to the floor. Taking the legs out nice and wide, turn out the knees, turn out the toes, keeping the chest lifted. Knees tracking straight out over the toes. Doing a deep, deep, deep squat and hold that there. Keeping the chest up, make sure the shoulders don't creep up, shoulders are down. And then just twist. shoulder towards the opposite knee. Try not to move anything below the waist, keeping those knees and thighs absolutely still. Turn out the knees, turn out the toes. See if you can turn your head and look over the shoulder as you turn your upper body. And then you get some stretch through the neck, flexibility through the neck and the spine. And of course you're going to feel those thighs work as well. And then from there, hold that there. And then slide the right foot through and then lift up and balance. And put the foot down and squat. Keeping the chest up, left foot slides through. Keep the hips pointing forward and squat. So you keep your chest lifted. The headlamps on the hip bones pointing forward. Headlamps on the chest pointing forward. And of course you've got to switch on those core muscles to balance. Sliding through and lift and squat. Still warming up the thighs, hips and knees. And then from there, just hold that there. Pop the head down, drop the arms down. Straighten the legs up, but make sure they're not locking at the knees. Keep the tummy pulled up and in, the head down, and slowly roll up. Link by link, bone by bone, up against that imaginary wall. Going to do it again. Do the squat. And drop the head, drop the arms. Have a little dangle with the arms. Straighten the legs. Maybe you need to come up a little bit to get those legs straight-ish. And then slowly come up. Link by link, bone by bone. Shoulders back and down. One more time. Just warming up the spine, getting lots of flexibility into your spine. Use the weight of the head and the arms. Push up. Make sure those knees don't lock. Slightly bent. And then slowly come up. Link by link, bone by bone. Shoulders back and down. Keep the legs wide. Just relax those knees a little bit more. And then circle the hips around. Just get the pelvis moving, keeping the shoulders down and circle. And then make it go the other way. Circling around. Keeping those knees bent to help to facilitate that movement. And then bring it back to the start position. Bring the feet in together. Shoulders, hips, knees, ankles aligned again. And then just slide the right foot directly out behind you. Keeping the back heel off the floor. And then from here, keep the hips pointing forward, the knees pointing forward. Make sure that back heel is off the floor. And then taking the hips down, keep the chest up and push up. Breathing in maybe to go down, breathing out to push up. Keeping the eyes focusing forward to help you balance. Nice deep squat, make those thighs work. If you find that's too much, of course, just bring the knees in together and do a narrow squat again and swing the arms. You can always do that instead. And then when you're ready, you swap to the other side. Just slide the foot back behind you. Make sure that back heel is off the floor. As I say, if it's not comfortable, just keep the feet together. And then lifting the arms up, strong arms, and squat. Bring the elbows together and lift. Just squeeze and lift. Knees again, tracking straight forward. And just a deep squat. Working into the chest as well as you bring those elbows together. Pectoral muscles in the chest working. Squeeze the shoulder blades back as you come up. Can we do 3 more? Just a drop and lift. Breathe in, breathe out. And then back to the start position. Back of the head, shoulder blades, buttocks and heels up against that imaginary wall. Tilting that pelvis slightly under. Then let's just give the calf muscles a little bit of a stretch. So slide that right foot back behind you. Press the heel down. Bending the front knee so it doesn't go any further forward than the toes. Bring the weight forward and press that back heel down into the floor. And then lift the right arm up. Follow the hand with the eye. Take the arm all the way back. Turn the head. Look along the arm. And then keeping the chest pointing forward, still hips pointing forward, left arm goes up. Take the arm back, turn the head, look along the arm, getting flexibility into the neck. And then change legs. You can always have the feet a little bit apart to help with the balance. Pressing that back heel down so you can feel a good strong stretch in the calf, keeping the chest lifted. Lifting that left arm up. Turn the head, look along the arm, and of course there is an element of balance going on here as well. Reaching forward, lift up, switching on those core muscles, keep you stable. And then relax, bring it back to the start position, opening up the chest. And that's the start of your warm-up. So this is where we roll down, using that roll down to go onto the mat. Thinking about the posture all the time, back of the head, shoulder blades, buttocks and heels up against that imaginary wall. Keep your chin down over your peach, and then just drop the chin, relax the neck, relax the knees, and gently roll down towards your toes. To keep the tummy button pulled right up and in, arms close into the legs, and then nodding the head just to release the tension. Shake, shake, shake the head as if you're saying no. Then bending the knees just a little bit, and then a little bit more to get onto the hands and knees. And then just gently take yourself all the way down onto your front. So you're already on your front, stretching the arms out, shoulders down away from the ears, lengthening through the neck. Tummy button, of course, pulled right up off your hot stone. Cup of tea on the back of your pelvis. Peach underneath the chin, between the chin and the chest. Plank of wood on the back of your head. So your neck will be in line with your spine, eyes focused on the floor, and then just take it down. So if it's comfortable, forehead on the floor. If it's not comfortable, just turn the head to the side and let your cheek rest. If your arms are not comfortable, if your shoulders don't like that, just take the arms to crucifix position, bend the elbows at a 90-degree angle, and let the forehead rest. And then from here, keeping the legs long, shoulders, hips, knees, and ankles aligned. If you can, arms straight out, if not, just to the side. Again, if that's not comfortable, you could always take the arms down by your side with the palms turned up and reach for your toes. Stretching arms out, forehead down. Exhale, just lift, and inhale to lower. Keeping the peach underneath the chin, between the chin and the chest. Think about having my hand pressing down between the shoulder blades. Feeling the pressure as you lift up into the hand. Lengthening through the spine. And working into your back. And of course the core to keep you stable. And then from there, adding on to that, starting down, lifting up and lift the right arm up and reach around with the arm. And then bring it back and head and shoulders down. Other side, lifting up, sweeping round, bring the arm back and gently down. Try not to lift the head, reaching up, turn the head and look at the arm. So that keep your plank on the back of your head, gently down. Lift, turn the head, look at the arm, but keep the neck in line with the spine. Gently down. If that's not comfortable, arms to the side. Crucifix position, bend the elbows at a 90-degree angle. Just the same, lift, use your back, try not to press down with the arms, and just circle and down. Repeating on the other side, lift, turn the head, follow the elbow, and down. Getting flexibility into your spine, as well as the neck. Just exhaling up, inhale to reach round, and gently down. If you've got your arms down by your side, you could lift up and just reach back and then gently down. You could always do that instead if it's not comfortable with the arms in front of you. And then from there, bring the hands underneath the forehead. If that's comfortable, let the forehead rest. Keep lengthening through the legs. And then just lift one leg, lower it down. Lift the other leg, lower it down. Keeping that tummy button pulled right up and in. Of course, your head will be down. Having to keep mine up so that hopefully you can hear what I'm saying. So exhaling to lift, inhale to lower.
Then of course you can do single, single, double, working into the lower back and the buttocks. Just exhale to up, inhale to lower. Keep lengthening through the legs. Remember, it's not about lifting high. Doing the double, if you can. If that's too much, you just stay with the alternate singles. Or you could just stay with the doubles. Lift and lower. Try not to bend the knees. Lengthening through the legs. So the buttocks work rather than the hamstrings. Exhaling up, inhaling down. Then, of course, you would join the two together. Stretching the arms out or arms to the side, crucifix, bending the elbows, or even arms down by your side. Stretching out, let the forehead rest, and lift either both legs, upper body, and go down, or you could just lift one leg and upper body. And do alternate ones, or you could stay with the doubles, with the legs, or you could do single, single, double. You can decide which level you're going to go for there. Nice and smooth, working into the back and the buttocks. Exhaling up, inhaling down. So you've got a little bit of help there with the arms, but mainly just to stabilize rather than to push with. And then see if you can hold it up there and then do alternate legs. A little swimming motion. Extending through the legs, keeping the head up. If that's too much, you stay with the earlier option and just go down. And of course you could make that harder even still by taking the arms up, hold, and then lifting right arm and left leg. And swapping. Plank of wood on the back of your head, peach underneath your chin, between your chin and your chest. But if that's too much, you stay with the earlier options. And of course, you can pause and do as many repetitions as you want to. Relaxing back down and then rolling over onto your right side. Taking the arm back a little bit, lengthening through the legs. Roll that top hip slightly forward, slide your hand down the seam of your trouser leg. Holding that there, lengthening. Rolling that top hip slightly forward, waist lifted off that hot stone. Have your cup of tea on the outside of your hip. Chin is down over the peach. If that's not comfortable with that right shoulder, just get a cushion and pop it underneath your head and bring the arm forward in front of you. You can always leave that left hand in front of you as well to help you balance. But if you can, try and have the arm back so that the fingertips, the shoulder blades, the buttocks and the heels are aligned. So that will help to get flexibility into your shoulder. And then from there, just bend the knees forward to a 90-degree angle. So the knees are on the edge of your mat and with a 90-degree angle at the knee as well as the hip. Keep the waist lifted, the cup of tea still, the head down. You can leave that left hand in front or you could put it behind, open the chest, pull the shoulder back and down. That would help to support you back. And then all you're going to do is extend the top leg, flex the foot, lift the leg and then circle. Trying to keep the torso as stable as you can while you do that. Just do as big a circle as you can without moving your torso. You can always leave the hand on the hip or in front or behind. If you find that's too much, just keep the knee bent and circle. And then when you're ready, just change and circle the other way. Trying to keep everything else as stable as you can. Bent knee easier, straight leg harder. Hip flexor, outside hip and thigh, buttock working. If you flex the foot, push the heel away from you, you'll get a good stretch through your hamstring and your calf as well. Nice and smooth. And then from there, just hold the thigh over the thigh and then lower and lift. Lower and lift. Now starting to get a little bit challenging. Again, you can make it easier by having a bent knee. And then if you've still got a little bit more juice in that outside hip and thigh, you can hold up either leg bent or straight and pulse. Maybe 5 little pulses on an in-breath, 5 little pulses on the out-breath. And again, you do as many repetitions as you need to get to that point where you think, I don't really want to do this anymore. It's not pain, it's just, I really have had enough. And then you prop your knee on the floor in front of you and give the outside of the hip a little rub and a smack, and just get rid of the burn. And then just gently, please, rolling over onto your back. Bring the chin down over ripe peach. Stretch the fingertips towards your toes. Working way down into the small of your back, and put a little grape in the small of your back, making sure you're not tilting your pelvis and crushing your grape or arching your back off your grape. So bracing the tummy, tray of marbles balanced across the hip bones. Shoulders, hips, knees and ankles aligned. And then from there, if it's not comfortable and you find your chin is pushing up towards the ceiling, just use the cushion again and pop your head onto the cushion. But if you can, try and lengthen through the back of the neck. And then from there, sliding your right leg out in front of you. Keep the shoulders, hips, knees and ankles aligned. Turn the heel in and the toes out. So your knee is turned out a little bit, the hip is turned out. We're trying to keep that tray of marbles still. And then working that inner thigh, take a breath in, and as you breathe out, lift the leg up, just level with the other thigh and knee, and lower the leg down. Exhale to lift, and inhale to lower. And this is where your glass of Prosecco comes in. So you pop your glass of Prosecco on your other knee, so that it doesn't move at all, while you lift and lower that right leg. Just exhale to lift and inhale to lower. Keep the heel turned in, toes turned out to isolate that inner thigh, because if you turn your knee and your toes up, you're going to work your hip flexor rather than that inner thigh. So just lift and lower. Nice and smooth, keeping the other foot rooted into the floor. And then when you've done about enough repetitions on that side, replace the foot to the floor and extend the other leg out. Flex, push the heel away from you, and then exhale to lift, inhale to lower. And of course you've transferred your glass of Prosecco onto your right knee now. Just lift and lower. Heel turned in, toes turned out. Try and keep the chin down over the peach. And making sure you keep that tray of marbles still. Lengthening through the leg, push the heel away from you. So you're just isolating that inner thigh. Lifting and lowering, keeping the pelvis as stable as you can, the torso as stable as you can. And again, when you've done approximately the same amount of repetitions on either side, just relax there, replace the foot to the floor, bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees flop apart. Stretch those inner thighs. Have a brief rest with those inner thighs. And then from there, bring the knees back up, feet flat on the floor. Checking the peach, add the grape, add the tray of marbles again. Breathing in, nod your head, breathing out, curl up, head, shoulders off the floor, reach forward, look between your thighs. Hold to breathe in and breathing out, arms, shoulder blades, shoulders, and head go down. Breathing in to nod, breathing out to curl, push forward, hold that there, and then gently, gently take it back down. If you find that's not comfortable, of course, you can support the head with one hand while you reach forward with the other hand, pressing that tummy button right down into the backbone each time. Nice and smooth and with control. Press the back into the mat, then you're crushing your grape. Don't forget the peach. Look underneath the orange, which is between the knees. And then see if you can add on to that. So this time, stretching out that right leg again. Flex the foot, turn the toes out, the heel in. Prosecco on that other knee. And then breathing in, nod your head, breathing out, curl up, lift up, and this time reach up towards the foot. Hold to breathe in, and breathing out, gently, gently bring it back down. Breathing in to nod, pick up the peach, curl up, reach up towards the toes, and gently down. You can, of course, support the head if you need to, curling up, reaching up, gently down, and just do as many repetitions as you feel comfortable with. If it's too much to lift the leg and the upper body together, do the leg first and then do the curl up. Press that tummy button right down and then gently roll back down. So you could decide how many repetitions you would like to do, and then of course you would swap to the other side and try and do approximately the same number. Push the heel away, turn the heel in and the toes out, and then if you can, you lift and stretch, and then lower it gently down. Keeping that tummy button pressed down into the backbone the whole time. Lift and a big reach as far as you can, gently taking the rib cage towards the pelvis. Support the head if you need to. You could always use both hands if you need to. But keep the elbows right back. Try not to pull on the head. Keep pressing that tummy button right down into the backbone. Getting flexibility into your hip, your spine. And of course working that rectus abdominis down the front. The transversus is working to keep you stable. And don't forget that glass of Prosecco, balanced on the other knee. Then when you think you've done approximately equal numbers on both sides, just relax and then bring the knees up again, feet flat on the floor. Allow the knees to flop down to the side. Stretch those inner thighs, sliding the heels maybe a little bit closer in towards your body. Let the weight of your legs take the knees towards the floor. Just relax into that stretch. And then from there, lengthening through the legs, take the arms over the top of your head, stretch the legs out along the floor and give yourself a full body stretch from the tips of your fingers to the tips of your toes. Lift the rib cage, stretch those tummy muscles that you've worked. Lengthening, lengthening, and of course the hip flexors. And then from there, just relax and roll gently over onto your left side. Stretching the arm out, letting the head rest. Bending the knees directly forward in front of you. 90-degree angle at the hip and the knee. Cup of tea on the outside of your hip. Keep that waist lifted. Try and get that little gap between the waist and the floor. If it's not comfortable with the arm underneath the head, you can bring your cushion and let it rest. But if you can, just to increase the flexibility, mobility in your shoulder, reach the arm out. Nice straight line from your fingertips to the back of your head, to your shoulder blades, to your buttocks. And then keeping that cup of tea still on the outside of your hip. Maybe put the hand behind to open the chest, pull the shoulder back and down. Or you could always leave the hand in front. It doesn't really matter because you're not having to balance now. But try not to allow the shoulder to creep up around the ear. Lifting that top leg and then extending the leg straight out. If you can, flex the foot and then circle the leg. Just do as big a circle as you can without, of course, spilling the cup of tea that's on the outside of your hip. Lengthening through the leg. Nice and smooth. Maybe one circle on an in-breath, one circle on an out-breath, or even half a circle on an in-breath, half a circle on an out-breath. If that's too much, bend the knee and circle with the knee bent. That would make it a little bit easier. And then when you're ready, just hold and extend if you can and straighten the leg out and go the other way. Or you can keep your leg bent if you need to. You can decide. Just a big, 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 big circle. Try to keep the torso as stable as you can. Outside hip and thigh working. You can probably feel that now. A little bit of hip flex, a little bit of buttock, but of course your core to keep you stable. You're challenging your stability with the movement of that limb. And then just hold it at the top, over the top of the other knee and lower and lift and lower and lift. Again, if that's too much now, just bend the knee and lift and lower. Nice and smooth. If you don't like lying on your side, you can always lie on your back with your knees up, or rather that right knee up and the left foot on the floor, and then hold the leg in tabletop and just allow the knee to drop down to the side and bring it back up. That would work your outer thigh also if it's not comfortable on the side. Maybe you could hold that up and just do a little pulse with the straight leg or the bent leg. And when you've had enough of that, you stop, pop the knee in front of you, give the outside of the hip a little rub and a smack till you've got rid of the burn that's probably going on in there now. And then just gently stretch the legs out and roll over onto your back. Take a moment to set that one up. Stretch your fingertips towards your toes, shoulders, hips, knees and ankles aligned. And then just stretching some of the muscles that you've just worked. Cross your right ankle over your left knee. Relax into that stretch. You've got to stretch to the outside of your hip and thigh there, down into the buttock. Now, if you want to increase the intensity of the stretch, you would lift your left heel. You can leave the ball of the foot on the floor, then lift the left foot. You can put your right hand between your thighs and hold on behind the thigh. Left hand, right hand behind the thigh. Just hug the legs in. You can always take a moment also to give a little bit of pressure with that right elbow into the right thigh. Just ease it out that little bit more. Just see which position gives you the best stretch, which is most comfortable. And relax into that stretch. Relax the neck, relax the shoulders. And then replacing feet to the floor, foot to the floor. Change legs. Just hug the leg in if you can. If that's not comfortable or it's too much of a stretch, just leave the ball of the foot, or you can just hover the foot, whichever works better. And of course you can leave the foot on the floor. Just relax that there. Hold and stretch. Breathing, of course, full and wide into the ribs, so you've still got your zip up and hollow going on. And then bring the soles of the feet together. Let the heels just slide a little bit closer in towards your body. Let the weight of your legs take your knees towards the floor and stretch those inner thighs. Using the weight of the legs to stretch. Getting flexibility into your hip as well as stretching those inner thighs. And then from there, just lifting the legs up and then stretch the legs out. Taking the arms over the top of your head, stretch through. Give a big stretch from the tips of your fingers to the tips of your toes. Lift the rib cage, lengthen through the legs. Stretch and breathe. And then from there, if you just want to bring the arms back down by your side, and then gently please roll over onto your front. And coming up onto the hands and knees, taking the hands just a little bit wider than the mat, making sure your knees are directly underneath your hips. You know what's coming now. A little bit of press up. I think probably in these trying times, we need to take care of our upper body. I'm sure lots of you are doing lots of walking in the time that we're allowed outside, but we also need to think about our upper body strength as well. Making sure that your knees are right underneath the hips and peach underneath the chin, so eyes are focused on the floor, making sure the weight doesn't come back, so the hips don't go over the heels, they stay directly over the knees, elbows pointing out to the side, inside of the elbows looking at each other. And then from there, breathing in, bend the elbows, take the forehead towards the floor, and breathing out to push up. Breathing in to take it down, and breathing out to push up. Engaging the tummy all the time. Making sure you're not jutting your chin forward, sticking your bottom up. So keeping the weight forward, that tummy pulled up and in. Just tuck the pelvis under slightly, bring the hip bones towards the bottom of the rib cage, those deep abdominal muscles engaged. Breathing in as the elbows just go out, and then push up. Maybe two more. Breathing in, breathing out. Keep that cup of tea still on the back of your pelvis. And then relax and sit back onto the heels. Let the forehead rest down. If that is not comfortable for you, then you can sit on your bottom, swing your legs round in front of you, and either reach over, big beach ball for your toes, or you could hug the knees into the chest and just have a little rest there. And then see if we can make that a little bit more challenging if you want to. If you don't want to make it any more challenging, of course you don't need to do that. You can stay with the same position, or to make it a little bit more challenging, take the knees back behind the hips. Maybe cross the ankles over and then bend the elbows, but taking the chest towards the floor. Breathing in to take it down, breathing out to push up. If that's too much, of course, you just bring the knees back underneath the hips. Nice and smooth. Try not to push the chin forward, engaging the tummy all the time. Tricep muscle, the bingo wing department working. And the biceps. And of course your core to keep you stable. And then maybe a couple more repetitions. You can decide how many you want to do. And then again, sit back onto the heels. Let the forehead rest down. You could take the arms behind you, palms up. Let the forehead rest. And lift the arms up and rotate the wrists. First one way, then the other way. Lots of pressure on the wrists, helping to promote bone growth into the wrists. And then, if that's not comfortable, you can sit on your bottom, swing your legs round in front of you, put that beach ball on your lap, reach over the beach ball, and rotate those wrists. Just ease out the wrists, lots of pressure on the wrists. There is one more level if you are happy to have a go at it. If not, you stay with either knees underneath the hips or the knees behind the hips, crossing the ankles, engaging the tummy, tuck that pelvis under, or of course you can do the full plank position. Slide one leg out, the other leg out, bend your elbows and push. Breathing in, breathing out. And you can pause the video and decide how many you want to do. And then when you've done that, again, you would sit back on the heels, let the forehead rest down, take the arms behind you, palms up, and rotate the wrists, stretch lower back, stretch buttocks, easing out the wrists, or you can sit on your bottom, swing your legs round in front of you, put the beach ball on your lap, reach over the beach ball, and rotate those wrists. You can decide. And then, now that we've finished our press-ups, we will need to stretch the backs of the arms. Sitting up nice and tall, lift the right arm up. Drop the hand behind your head, ease the arm back. Stretch into the back of the arm. Don't forget your peach underneath your chin, between your chin and your chest. Try not to drop the chin forward. Keeping the back up nice and tall, just ease the arm back. Elbow pointing up. Changing arms, reaching up, drop down, give it a little push back. Just easing that arm back. Stretch the back of the arm, that tricep muscle that you've just worked. And then from there, just relax and then come on to the hands and knees again. And then do a big arch, drop the head, tuck the pelvis under, look back between the thighs. Have a good stretch. Stretching through the spine. Ears pointing down, tailbone pointing down. Nice big, angry pussycat stretch. And then scooting all the way out onto your front again. Taking the forehead down onto the back of one hand. Reach behind with the other hand for the foot on the same side. Bring the heel into the bottom, the knees are together. Pressing the hip into the floor. Get a good stretch through the front of the thigh. Remember, you can lift the head and the shoulders if you want to, but keep your eyes focused on the back of the hand. If you can't get a hold of the foot, you get hold of the sock or the trouser leg, or you can cross the other ankle over and just ease the leg in. Replace the leg and swap to the other side. Heel to bottom, knees together. Press the hip into the floor. Good strong stretch in that hip flexor and the quadricep muscle. Down the front of the thigh, lifting head and shoulders, but only if you need to. And then just replacing the foot to the floor. Coming up onto the hands and knees. Then just walk the hands into the knees. Tuck the toes under. Hover the knees off the floor. Push the hips up into the air. Keep the head down, the knees slightly bent. Keep the tummy engaged and slowly roll up. Link by link, bone by bone, up against that imaginary wall. So having rolled up to standing, just checking the position again, back of the head, shoulder blades, buttocks and heels, up against your imaginary wall. Just tilt that pelvis slightly, tailbone pointing down. And then just drop the right ear down into the shoulder while you slide the left hand down the seam of your trouser leg. Lengthen through the neck. Hold that there. Get a good stretch through the neck and to the shoulder. Turning the head, looking down at that right shoulder. Keeping the chest open and the shoulders back and down. Try not to move your body at all. Turning the head, looking up and behind into the left corner. As far back and up as you can. Just encouraging flexibility into the neck. Then gently drop the chin all the way down into the chest. Slide those shoulder blades down your back, shoulders away from the ears. Lengthen through the neck. Keep the tummy button pulled up and in. That pelvic floor still lifting a little bit, pulling up, pulling in, using the weight of the head to stretch the neck. Lengthen through the shoulders as well. And then lifting the head up, drop the left ear down into the shoulder while you slide the right hand down the seam of the trouser leg. Keeping everything else stable while you do that. Turning the head, looking down at that left shoulder. Hold and stretch. Keeping the torso stable, turn the head, look up and behind to the right. Try not to twist your body at all. Keep the head lamps on the hip bones pointing forward, head lamps on the chest pointing forward. And then again, just drop the chin all the way down into the chest. And just do one more lovely roll down towards the toes. Drop, 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 drop. Hold that there. And then just slowly come up, link by link, bone by bone. Up, up, up against that imaginary wall. Shoulders back and down. And there we are. We have completed session number 2. And just to remind you, if you go onto YouTube and look for Pat Waters Pilates, click on subscribe, and then that's where I will be every week. Stay well.